Hello again and welcome back to another episode. Today I bring you another 35mm SLR from Petri, a Japanese camera manufacturer, founded in 1907 but went into administration in 1977, I do believe. It was bought out by members of the union. The workforce got together and got a load of money together and bought the facility, and the last I managed to be able to find out about them was in 2009. They were still making telescopes, but the Petri brand actually belongs to a UK company, Dixon's Group, which years ago used to have high street camera and electronic stores. It's the sort of place you'd go and buy a stereo or a camera. Still exists today. They have brands like PC World. I think Carphone Warehouse is one of theirs as well, but they actually own the Petri brand now. Now, we've looked at later cameras that were M42 mount. Their earlier cameras were M42 mount. This camera came out in 1970, which was kind of the transition period away from the M42 screw mount, and manufacturers started to go into their own individual bayonet mount, brought about by the need to know what aperture the lens was set to for metering. This camera, funnily enough, doesn't feature an internal meter. You'll notice it has these two lugs here, which is where a clip-on external CDS light meter would attach, and it would be coupled to the shutter speed dial. You can see that here. Unfortunately, I haven't got one. It's on my wish list to get one of these external meters. They're quite a big thing. They sort of sit up here with a cell looking out to the front. They're not through the lens meters. They're external, only coupled to the shutter speed dial. But let's have a quick look over it. The strange thing about this is, and why I wouldn't really recommend this as a daily using camera, is that it has a bayonet mount. It reminds me a bit of the Pentagon 6, the same mount that's used on some of the Kievs. I've got a couple of cameras with a P6 mount, but this is very similar. It's kind of like a breech lock mount, a bit like the Canon FD mount as well, with a twisting ring. I don't know if there was many lenses made for this in this mount. This one is a 55-18 made by Petri. They were originally in the lens business, making glass. They made glass for a lot of different companies, including Nikon, interestingly enough. But yeah, it has this sort of breech lock mount on it. There is an adapter available, again, which I haven't yet managed to track down, which allows M42 lenses to be used on here. But I imagine this is going to get in the way, this ring that's on here. They went back to M42 mounts, and then eventually they settled on the Pentax K mount. So yeah, they went through quite a lot of mount issues. You can see there's a red sort of line at the top, and that sort of lines up here, and then this turns to lock the lens on. It's quite a good system, but yeah, it was unique, I think, to these Petri brand cameras. And this is a model V6ll. There is an earlier model, the V6, launched in 1965. That didn't have the hot shoe. This is the V6ll, which the only real difference is that this one has a hot shoe on the top. So looking at the front, we've got this, again, reminds me of Pentagon cameras from former East Germany, having the shutter release on the front. Film advance in the usual place, works in the normal way, and the shutter release is on the front. It can accept a cable release, but not the screw-in type that go in the middle. This is one that sits over the top. Some of the early Nikons, I think, used them a bit like that. They also have a self-timer. No batteries in this camera, it's totally mechanical. So you can set the self-timer, push the button. Nice clockwork whirring sort of noise. And then yeah, the camera fires. It's got a PC connector for external flash On the bottom, very plain tripod bush in the middle of the lens, which is ideal, and a push to rewind, pretty standard. It looks like a pretty standard sort of camera. The pentaprism's a bit strange with this sort of sticking out sort of profile. Couple of lug straps. On the top, very plain, film advance, shutter speed dial, speeds from half a second through to a 500th, plus a B setting. Like I said before, this is to connect to the external meter that sits on top, so it would be coupled to this, and then you'll be able to read off the aperture to set on the lens. X is probably about 45th of a second, I would have thought. It's a horizontal cloth shutter. This is the frame counter over here, huge window but quite small, writing on the disc. It doesn't move when you advance the film, it moves when you fire the shutter, which is kind of a bit different. Usual pull-up rewind crank. It doesn't open the back opens. A little catch down at the bottom. And it's a standard layout inside, film in here, sprocket drive, slotted take-up spool, pressure plate, and there you can see the cloth horizontal shutter. It's obviously the viewfinder. No information displayed in the viewfinder, and nothing in the way of focusing aids either, I don't think. Oh yeah, it has got a microprism in the centre, which aids you with your focusing. Yeah, very, very simple. Quite heavy. It's metal, it's solid. Focus control on the front of the lens, very nice and smooth. Quite a short throw as well. The aperture ring behind that. And then it has the MA, so you can have the aperture being manual or automatic. Quite a common feature on lenses of this period. And then this also has guide numbers that you can put in for a flash gun. This was going back to before flash guns had sensors and computers inside, brains inside of them. A flash gun would have what's called a guide number. You'd set the guide number on the lens, and from there it would work out the aperture for you. See there, feet. But yeah, typical 1970s mechanical camera. Unusual in that it's got this weird mount on it. Not really recommended to buy, apart from if you're a collector or you're particularly into Petri cameras. I think the screw mount ones or the K mount ones that came later are probably a better buy. Although, as we said before, a lot of those are made by Casina, but this is actually made by Petri. But yeah, quality items. You can see it still works. All the shutter speeds work. It's mechanical and it's lasted, what, 30, 40, 50 years, 50 plus years. It still works like a sewing machine. So yeah, very nice quality. This is the only lens I've got for it. So I'm hoping to find the adapter. Instant return mirror, which is quite nice. It does pop down once you've taken the exposure. But yeah, very nice. Another one for the Petri collection. That's it for today, folks. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to comment questions, queries, etc. down below, and please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and all that usual sort of stuff, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.